I didn't feel the bridge should be taken down because of its enormity, because of its historical value. And this was a grand opportunity to open up that venue to everybody in our community and beyond.
The historic Poughkeepsie-Highland Railroad Bridge, built in 1888, was instrumental in the growth of this country because goods were shipped across it 24 hours a day, up to 3,500 freight cars and 50 trains a day, and the country grew and prospered largely because of this bridge. The bridge is held up by 4 giant piers, which are the equivalent of a 10-story building, and those piers are 60 feet by 100 in width and length, and they go down 120 feet. Turned out to be one of the greatest structures ever built.
People don't realize that the second board of directors was Andrew Carnegie, and Carnegie's steel was on that bridge when we removed it. It's mind-boggling to think that in 1888, when the bridge opened up, 6 states were created. And if you go back to the history and look at these things, and from 1889, when it ran on a regular basis, to 1974, that's a lot of history, a lot of people crossed that bridge.
My father was the signal station operator on the Poughkeepsie side off Parker Avenue and Washington Street. And when I was a teenager, I got to go in that little signal station.
I think we were very much an anonymous group. I remember asking somebody one time about the other bridge. He had lived here all his life. He said, "What other bridge?" And indeed, I've said many times, you know, the Poughkeepsie Railroad Bridge didn't cast a shadow anymore. And this was a grand opportunity to open up that venue to everybody in our community and beyond.
Sunday, the 7th of February, 1993, looking south at Poughkeepsie Bridge.
From the period approximately 1992 through 2003, it was a real down-home effort. We toured approximately 5,000 people out onto the bridge, and it was actually in groups of 2, 3, 4, up to 30 people, touring them out over our plank walkway to the First River Pier.
And there was iron grating that you could see through down to the river, and many people got scared by that.
First time I went up, I was really scared stiff. I didn't know if I could turn around and come back.
And you'd say, just look straight ahead, just look straight ahead. There were times when outside folks thought we were a little, maybe not totally crazy, but a little bit out in left field, so to speak.
We developed a new slate of board members, and 8 people were selected in 2004.
And the new board elected me as chairman of Walkway Over the Hudson.
We had a cast of characters, I say in a positive way, on the board of directors, because we all came from different walks of life, but we all had a common goal.
And there was a while on the new board when I was the only female. I'd go to these meetings where there were all men, and I would just keep quiet for a while, and then I would put my 2 cents worth in.
The DOT had done a study just before we got involved that acknowledged that the best use for the bridge at this point was to be a walkway. The most expensive option was what they called the do-nothing option, because it would have led to eventually the bridge decaying and becoming a hazard.
Instead of a bunch of guys going out on Saturday morning with their own hammers and nails, became, let's get some real financing behind us. Let's go out and get grants. Let's tell the world what we really want to do here.
The motivation behind it all was also doing the outreach events, having people point at me at the table and said, "You're wasting your time, it's never going to happen." And so I took it upon myself to put the logo of the bridge on my van and put walkway.org.
The Walkway Over the Hudson Corporation owned the bridge, and we were responsible, so we were taking on a great risk in being involved in this project.
People would try to get up on it now and then, and the alarm system would go off, and sometimes I would get up in the middle of the night to go out to see what the problem was and go out with the police.
We decided to apply for a New York State Department of State grant, and that kind of helped us become a team.
And we thought this was going to be a multi-million-dollar project, and that we would have to solicit public funding, and that it would be a partnership of public entities and also of the community.
But as we went and talked to the community and spoke to politicians, we got an awful lot of support, but no one was really willing to commit.
All we needed was a lot of money.
All of a sudden, it's going to happen. Truest words that were ever spoken.
I think the turning point was really the federal grant through Congressman Hinchy, because that gave us a lot of credibility. You know, we were up out in the middle of, as far as we could go on the walkway with him at a press conference, and I think that really helped.
People on the board all thought one day the Dyson Foundation will help us.
And I happened to know Rob Dyson, and I called him, and as he recounts the story, it was 6 degrees out, and I can remember this as clear as day, is Rob holding his hands up, walking, like very carefully on the ties, because we didn't know how strong the wooden walkways were on the side.
And you could just see the sparkle in Rob Dyson's eyes, and I just knew that someday that he would really come forward.
And then one day I was just hanging around the office and I went online and saw that they have an online process where you could apply for a grant. And next thing we knew, there was $1 million study being contracted for that included underwater divers and checking every single bolt and piece of metal on the bridge.
Rob was the one who was able to get us on the fast track.
We were teamed up and partnered with the Dyson Foundation. We were partnered with the state of New York. And the board had an important role, but it was much different than it was earlier.
Okay, everybody, great big smile.
Thinking about doing a project in honor of Henry Hudson's 400th anniversary now gave us an impetus to move faster and to get the project done by 2009. And that was a very important part of getting New York State involved with the project.
I think my proudest moment was opening day.
That was a phenomenal day. I don't know that it could ever be duplicated.
It was probably one of the high points of my life, I'm sure.
To everybody's amazement, 40,000 people showed up the first weekend.
I cannot think of any effort except perhaps the effort to defeat the Nazis and the Japanese during the Second World War, where everybody joined in the effort to accomplish a goal.
Obviously, none of us did this for a paycheck. We all did this for the love of the project, the love of saving something so historical as that bridge.
There was a tremendous collaboration, and it would not have happened if the state of New York and the Bridge Authority and Parks didn't come into the picture. The Dyson Foundation, there were many levels, Dutchess County, Ulster County, City of Poughkeepsie, Town of Lloyd. It took a lot of people. When people come together to collaborate, anything is possible.
We now estimate there'll be about 500,000 people crossing the walkway every year, and a recent economic study has shown that about $24 million a year is coming into this area that would not come into this area if it wasn't for the Walkway Over the Hudson. Yep, I'm very proud. What happened?
in walking that ribbon of highway, I saw above me that endless skyway. I saw below me that golden valley. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land. From California